Grand Rising, boom dia, good morning, and all that good stuff in between. What is good and going on with everybody, with y'all? What's going on with everybody, with y'all? Good morning and welcome to another episode of the 23rd hour. I am your host, Mr. Maurice the Prophet, here with y'all today on a very somewhat unexpected snowy day. I heard that that it was going to be. There we go. Now we're back in business. I heard it was going to be snowing this morning. There was some out of the news, and I was like, "Are you kidding me, man? We had this really nice, not nice, but pretty much like expectantly cold, like cool, chilly weather that we were having, during the Thanksgiving break, and then they were talking about we're going to cap it off with snow. I'm like, no way, we're going to do that. But woke up this morning, look at this. Now it's Christmas. It really is. And by the way, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I hope everyone had a really great Thanksgiving holiday. I know I did. It was really chill, low key. Just needed that's the thing with Thanksgiving is like you need that break. You need that break where you can just kind of like let things kind of be easy, let things be easy, go slow down a little bit, let you remind yourself that you ain't gotta like push it all the time and go full throttle. So it was a good needed break. You know what I like about Thanksgiving? I think one of the best things I like about Thanksgiving the most is I like when you get to that Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, like with the National Turkey Sandwich Day, basically. And like sometime during the day on Friday, you think it's Saturday, like it feels like Saturday in a way. And then you're like, wait a minute. It's Friday. You know what I mean? So you like, I got a whole weekend ahead of me and all that good stuff. So I like that. Like that's like one of my like low key favorite parts about the Thanksgiving break. And that happened to me on Friday too. I was heading to Walmart to take advantage of one of those Black Friday deals they had going on. Now I'm not one of those people because I saw everybody and mama leaving out Walmart with like big TVs, like these big screen TVs, and I'm just like, you probably got the big screen TV last year, the year before, and the year before. Why do you need another big screen TV? But whatever, that's a whole nother conversation. I'm not in their pocket, so it doesn't even matter. They're not paying my bill, so I don't care. But but it's an observation. Took advantage of the Black Friday deal. They had they actually were selling Street Fighter 6 on for like 50% off. So I had to take advantage of that. You know what I mean? So what happened? I'm adjusting some things right now. So I'm like adjusting as I'm talking. So my eyes are kind of like all over the place. Please just bear with me for a few moments. All right. But I'm still going to talk though. I'm not going to stop running my mouth. God damn it. So, so I took advantage of the deal. And I went out to Walmart, the one that was in Villa Park. So if you're in Chicago, Villa Park is probably about a half hour outside Chicago and everything, because there were no other Walmarts that were close to me that had the deal going on because they're all sold out of the game. So I went all the way out there, and what happened? I went in. Oh yeah, so I did an online order. Went inside. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna go over there, go to the service desk or whatever, and be like, okay, I'm here to pick up my online order and peace out, basically, right? And so I go inside. I speak with a lady who at the desk. Give her my name. She was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Since you got the Black Friday deal, you gotta go all the way to Lawn and Garden and get your stuff." I'm like, okay, well, I didn't get anything from the Lawn and Garden, but I bet whatever you say. You know what I mean? I got a video game. What a video game is doing over by the soil beats me, but whatever. You know what I mean? It's Villa Park we're talking about, so. Not much to expect. No shade. I'm just playing. So I go to Lawn and Garden, and I speak to a gentleman that's over there, and he was like, "I'm like, yeah, I need to pick up my item." And he said, "Okay." He's like, "Okay, you gotta go back in your car, drive all the way around, wait in line, and then we're gonna bring it out to you." And I'm just like, "I'm just picking up a video game." And he's like, "All the orders are right there," and it's like a whole wall full of orders, like mad stuff, right? Whole lot of stuff. And I'm like, I'm right here though. But my thing was like, what if I didn't have a car? Like, what if I like literally came up here on a bike? You know what I mean? Like, I'd be like one of those people. You ever go to the drive-thru at like Wendy's or something like that, and you see somebody in the drive-thru that doesn't have a car, and they're literally standing in the drive-thru, You know what I'm saying? Like, you ever see that happen? That's why I thought to myself, like, what if I was one of those people? Would I be like that? But whatever, it is what it is. But yeah, so I went outside, pulled around, right? And there was like no order to this whatsoever. Cause there was a line of cars, right? There was a line of cars. I was about the fourth car, basically. So there was a line of cars, but people were just like randomly walking up from like I said, from like coming from the bus stop, walking over to the spot to get their stuff, so to get their things. I'm like, oh, well, if they can do it, I'm like, hell no, I've been here and I'm in my car. You know what I mean? So, um, so I got my stuff and everything. So it was all good. I got my game. I didn't wait long, so I'm not even gonna get on them about that. But then on the way back, I thought to myself, oh, I'm like, oh man, all the games are coming on tomorrow. And I'm thinking it was Saturday, but it really was Friday. I'm like, this is that moment on Thanksgiving weekend where you realize today is Friday. You know what I mean? It's not Saturday. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those good feel. I like that feeling because it's like a little bit of a I don't know. It's so zen like where it's like, oh man, it's another reason to breathe really easily and really feel like, oh, nice. You know what I mean? Something to kind of look forward to because you have the rest of the weekend ahead of you. So that's definitely a good feel right there. You know what I mean? But yes, join us in the chat. Yes. You already know the vibes, Matt. The Odium. Oh, dude, man, the Odium. And bro, I was at the last wrestling show at the Odeon about about a couple years ago when they had New Japan over there. Yeah, man, the Odeon, bro. Everybody got memories, bro. The old school ECW shows. And that's the thing, that Walmart is right by the Odeon. It's not that far from it. So you already know what's up, man. I'm glad my boy jumped on. Shout out to Matt Floyd too, man. I hope you're doing well, brother. You and Caitlin, man. I hope y'all had a good Thanksgiving. But y'all already know the reason why we are here today. It is not talk about how my Ducks got in that ass on Oregon State. I see you, John Robinson. It's not talking about that. But we are here to talk about, let's chop it up, baby. Let's chop it up, man. You know what I mean? I would love to have you on. Okay, hold on. All right, hold on. Let me work that out. All right, let me work that out. I'm gonna hit you in a little bit. All right, I'm gonna hit you in a little bit. I love to have the sharpshooters on here. But yeah, let's talk turkey. We're gonna talk turkey. We already talked turkey. We already talked Thanksgiving. We all talk about all the good stuff and everything. Oh, my boy Manny too. Oh hell yeah, we gotta have him on. Okay, all right, Manny, give me a moment, man. Give me a moment. We already talked turkey. Now we gotta talk about the other Thanksgiving tradition, and that is Survivor Series. And Survivor Series 2023 went down last night at the Allstate Arena in Chicago, Illinois. A packed house, about 17,000 people, they said. Packed, sold out show. I think originally it was about 15,000 people that they were going to fit in there. Because traditionally they fit about 15 to 16,000 people. But about 3 weeks ago, I want to say it was, they added like an extra like 1,000, 2,000 seats in there. I think because of the reason why we're here talking about today, and because the rumors actually were true, and that is the return of R-Truth to the WWE. Hey man, hey, for real, I was very happy to see R-Truth last night. I really did pop. I popped crazy seeing R-Truth last night because I'm like, oh my god, it's been a minute since we seen my boy, man. So it was really good seeing him. But we're gonna go straight to the elephant in the room right now. We're gonna go straight to the elephant in the room, and we're gonna talk about why we are here, and that is about the return to CM Punk making his return back to the WWE after being away from the WWE. Man, from the WWE itself. What are we talking about? Damn near 10 years? It looking like 10 years it's been. And so I mean, we're knocking on the door of a decade in terms of like how long Punk has been away from the WWE scene. Now he's not been away from the wrestling scene altogether because, as we know, he was recently part of All Elite Wrestling with AEW, and we all know the story about how all that went down. his time with AEW ended unceremoniously short back in August when he got into a fight, a disagreement. It'll be physical, verbal, probably both, with Jack Perry, known as Jungle Boy, in the back after his match with Samoa Joe. So, and basically that was like the final straw with Punk and AEW's relationship, because he had some prior incidents that took place, with the talent in the back as well too, a year before, where he got into some issues with the Young Bucks, with Kenny Omega, among others. So Punk came back, he nursing an injury as well, and now he's then because of that incident, he was no longer part of the AEW roster. He was fired. He was let go. Tony Khan made that very public. And the public, once again, like when it comes to Punk, people are going to talk. People are going to, people are always going to be talking about, about Punk. So he's going to be part of the conversation pretty much. So yeah, so last night we saw him pretty much come back, and he came back to WWE. And the thing is, though, is that like what was interesting about this whole thing was that this rumor actually started, and bear with me, guys, I'm just like doing something really quick, but the rumor of Punk coming back to WWE actually started from fans, basically. Like this wasn't really like any type of sanctioned teases. We didn't see any type of like any little package, any like video packages or any kind of clues being dropped here and there or whatever. You know how sometimes like WWE though, like they'll do like a little like some little droplets of clues, here and there to kind of let you know what's happening, or something was being cooked up, or something was on the horizon. For example, remember like when they did it with Chris Jericho when he came back in 2007, they had the whole like the coding language, like the code, like what you see with computers, and they were showing that here and there, and then it came to fruition that it was Chris Jericho. So that was weeks of a build, that was weeks of a build. And then, and Manny, I'm gonna send you the link in a couple of minutes. Wait, what did he say? Hold on. He said, "Nah, the scent felt like it went cold on Raw when they said the fifth man was Orton." I see. That's the thing, is that I think that was a nice little. That could have gone either way. That could have gone either way, dog. Because it was like when they announced that Orton was going to be in the match. Number one, I thought it was kind of weird that he wasn't there, nor there wasn't like a video of him, like saying like, "I'm in a Survivor Series match. I'll see you Saturday night," or whatever. Like we didn't get anything like that. But also on the other hand, I'm like, man, I wish they kind of kept that as a complete surprise, like throw everyone off. Like nobody, imagine hearing, "I have voices in my head." Imagine hearing that without having no type of indication whatsoever of Orton being in the building. That would have been crazy, right? But then also on the third side, it's like a three. It's a triangle. It's a triangle of notion right here. That was kind of like, was that WWE's way of saying like, "Hey, we're not getting Punk. All right, we're not getting him, but we got Orton that's coming back. So this is the reason why you want to be in the building, so you can see the return of Randy Orton." And I was thinking to myself, like, there's no way in the world they're gonna be able to get both of them. You know what I mean? I was thinking like yeah, obviously WWE can afford it. Obviously, like he can afford both of them, but I didn't know they're gonna do all that though, like all at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Because WWE likes to give you they like to give you things in doses. They like to give you like your surprises in doses. And I felt kind of like giving two big surprises on the same night might have been a little overkill, but it wasn't done bad at all. You know what I mean? It wasn't done bad at all whatsoever. WWE, some petty members. I heard that Cult of Personality drop on like it was gonna be fake Punk. Bro, if they had Matt, you a fool. If they had freaking like Dwayne Gill coming out dressed as CM Punk, boy. Man, I would have loved to see that everybody melt. You know what I mean? I would have loved to see that. For real. Oh my God, man. But man, when you talk about like the video people, help with that YouTube algorithm. However, I appreciate you, bro. Thank you. Yeah, please like it, share it, love it, comment on it, all that good stuff and everything. I appreciate you, brother, for real. I sent you the link too as well, so jump in anytime, my man. Yeah. So it could have gone so many different ways of like what was going to happen, and that was what was hooking me. Not only that, I want to see. I was going to watch Survivor Series because I want to see Survivor Series overall in general, but it really was so many questions of like what really was going to happen at the end of this show, what was going to take place. You know what, like especially when they put the whole indicator of like Orton wasn't there yet. So, you know, you're like, okay, what's really going to happen? And so we get Orton coming out for the match itself. And then, oh man, hold on. All right, my boy's on here right now. Oh, real quick, man. Hold on a second, Manny. What up, Carissa? What's good? What's good, girl? Happy birthday, girl. Happy birthday, I know you're still celebrating. Oh, man. Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time ever, on the 23rd hour, I have a special guest. I have one half of the Untitled podcast from the Sharpshooters Network, all the way from the UK, talking about Mr. Manny. My boy.
What up, dude?
My man. Dude, what is good with you, son? What's happening, bro?
It's no good. We kind of got a name now. I mean, we're kind of not untitled. We kind of have a name.
What is it now? What is it?
Well, so you know how Grand Metalik claims to be the king of the ropes,
right? Yeah.
Me and Marcus on Tuesday and Thursday are now the kings of the ropes.
The kings of the ropes.
only in Latin America, nowhere else. Only in Latin America.
So only in one region of the world, you're the kings of the ropes, but everywhere else, you're still untitled.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a gradual process. You gotta work your way up. You know, you can't be too greedy and take over all the regions. You know what I mean? At one time. You know what I mean? But you working your way up, man. Man, I'm glad to have you on, though, man. My man, I'm glad to have you on, especially with talking about what we're talking about right now. Hold on, Clint's chiming in. Potential Mania match at this point. Oh yeah, I was gonna talk about this in the group, bro. Reigns versus Cody 2, Punk versus Rollins, Gunther versus Brock. Damn, okay. LA Knight versus Logan Paul, Rhea versus Bianca. Man, we're gonna talk about Gunther in a little bit, but I'm liking that Gunther versus Brock thing. But before we get to that, though, we got to touch on last night, man. I was shocked. I was very surprised. I was very surprised, but pleasantly surprised in the way how everything was presented to us. You know, in terms of like the rollout of Randy Orton. Let's first talk about that. I was happy about that because it was great seeing Orton. Number one, he looked jacked as hell. Like
he was on the juice. He looked like he was on the juice.
Dog, for real. Like juicing or just taking his time off, you know, seriously. But he looked really great. You could tell he was a little gassed in the ring, which I'm like, I expect that. You've been away for about a year and a half. I get that. So that was expected. Orton coming out, pretty much, you know, like closing out the show and everything. But what was dope as hell though, right when you thought the show was at the end, they even had that little at the bottom of the right hand screen showing like Titan Sports or whatever like that, 2023. Then Cult of Personality hits. Manny, you were watching. I'm sure you were watching live. Let me get your thoughts on your initial thoughts on all that from the very end of the.
So it was mad because they panned to that like far shot of just the two cages, and like Marcus was having like really bad internet issues when we were doing the watch along, so we weren't all synced up. So Marcus suddenly ended up ahead of both of us. So like that, what's that card with the credit scene? That copyright logo in the corner.
Yeah, at the very right hand bottom.
Yeah. So NXT has kind of taught us not to trust that ever again because of Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa.
I thought about that too. I thought about that too with Gargano and Ciampa. I remember that too because that's when we saw the little credit thing. That's when Tommaso went to town on Gargano. Yeah.
And then so Marcus is ahead of me at this point, and all I hear is a yell of like, "Oh my god!" He didn't say what it was, So I'm thinking, oh, Orton's probably turned on someone, because that was the whole thing I was leaning to. I was like, Orton's going to turn on someone. He feels too happy to be here. He's going to turn on Cody, or he's going to turn on Seth, and this is all going to happen. And then it panned out, and then I see the shot, and it's like, oh, that's the cult of personality.
Yeah.
And I was like Floyd said, I thought, oh, imposter syndrome's happening here, because like we already been. It's not like I don't know which AEW pay-per-view it was where you got Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson on the same night, literally within 5 minutes of each other. It wasn't like that, because none of them were kind of involved in a match. They were all kind of involved in a talking segment of like, we're here. So like he comes out, and then I see him, and then he walks out, and I'm like, whoa, he looks kind of fresh. Like when when we last saw him on AEW All In, he looked a bit beat up and like tired and stuff. He looked fresh. He looked well. He looked well within himself. And then all that madness starts to happen between Seth. You even see clips of Drew McIntyre storming out.
Right.
It's all madness. It's all backstage nonsense that we probably don't know the full story about, but from all these like these reports that are coming out.
Right.
But yeah, man, I don't think WWE needed him, but it's good to have. Like, it brings in revenue. Because like people don't look at wrestling as a business. They look at it as like, oh, it's entertainment. Entertain me. This is what I like. Because you're not giving me what I want, I hate you. I hate this product. But like, you got to look at it that bringing Punk in brings in money, brings in revenue. They're trying to get a deal for Raw right now. You put Punk on Raw, you're probably getting a way bigger deal. Like kind of like how they put Punk to get Collision on AEW. You're kind of probably going to look for that same kind of deal with Monday Night Raw now. And I think it's good business, but like, you don't need him. You really don't need him. Like, but yeah. What did you think?
And going back, starting with the presentation. That's crazy that Marcus was ahead of you. So you were like, wait, what? Starting with the presentation. When I saw that the wide side of the ring, them having the little credit at the lower right hand, immediately my head was like, man, the IWC is going to be going crazy because there was no Punk. It's gonna be a lot of people talking shit. I was like, that was what was going through my mind, like what the internet was gonna be like. Hearing Punk's music as an avid Punk fan, I lost it. I was in the blast zone last night. We were all watching it, and everybody in there just went crazy. In there when that music hit. So, as a Punk fan, I was happy to see that. I was happy to hear his music. I was happy to see him come out. And like you said, he looked very well. He looked very fresh. He looked like there wasn't all this stress that was that he was wearing on his face, because, sadly, when we were seeing him in AEW, you can tell when someone is going through it. You could tell when someone has a lot happening in their life, when they're wearing a lot of their emotions on their sleeves, on their face, on their chest, on their body. Body language says everything. And we saw a lot with Punk, when he would be on, AEW Collision, especially this past year as well, too. But he looked very fresh. He looked really good. My question is, among everything you say, you raised some great points in terms of like, just the whole like thing with the TV deal and everything, and like what they're gonna do, like, with him on the show. My question is at this point is how are you healthy? Are you healthy enough to be able to be in that ring? Because I swear to God, man, it felt like every time we were watching him wrestle in AEW, it was like we were kind of like sucking our teeth, because it seemed like every bump he was taking was so massive. So this is a question I kept asking myself last night, like, is he gonna be okay? But one thing about WWE, which I give him credit for, is that they do know how to be able to use you sparingly, to ensure that you're not going to be going through the rigor, of having to perform so much over the top where you don't really necessarily have to. And in Punk's case, he doesn't necessarily have to be always in the ring all the time. He doesn't have to be. He's at a point in his life where he can be a special attraction. He can come in as, number 28 in the Royal Rumble and be part of the Final Four. for those last, like 10 minutes or 10, 12 minutes of the show. He can come in, obviously, at WrestleMania and do a big match with, whether it be Rollins or whomever it's going to be. So you don't have to have him, every week on Monday or Friday, whatever they're gonna put him at. You don't have to have him in the ring every week. Once in a while, obviously, yeah, we're gonna see him in the ring, here and there. But he doesn't have to carry a 35-minute match. He can have a good solid 8 to 12-minute match on Raw. Have a good solid, like 15, 20-minute match at Elimination Chamber, a one-on-one, whatever it may have you. 12 minutes at the Royal Rumble, a good 25 minutes at WrestleMania. Boom, you use it sparingly because he's going to be a draw no matter what. And I think that's kind of like what happened. What may have kind of took a left turn in AEW was that he was being used too much. Now the thing is though, with him though, I kind of get it why he wanted to get in that ring and why he wanted to wrestle so much, because when it's in you all you can see is yourself doing it. And if you have that itch, especially, nothing's going to stop you from doing that, especially if your body is telling you, hey, I can't go anymore. I can't continue. Your will and your hunger and your love for what you do is going to keep on pushing you. But then your body gets to a point where it's going to tell you, listen, I told you I can't go any further. Now we're going to break. And unfortunately, that's what happened with Punk on 2 occasions.
The problem with Punk, though, in body was he got injured doing non-wrestling things, like he injured himself jumping into the crowd I think the first title run he had.
Right.
He dived in the crowd, and I think his ankle or foot hit that guardrail, and then that's when all his problems kind of had. And he continued that match with FTR, and I can't remember who they were facing afterwards. Or was it the injury or what? He was injured. I think he hurt his shoulder, didn't he? He hurt his shoulder.
Yeah.
So a lot of that stuff, I think going to WWE, you wrestle their style, which is a lot more safer, and it kind of projects longevity. When you look at the likes of the older wrestlers in WWE, the 40+ lot, right. they are going on longer because they're wrestling this style, which is still safe, and then they occasionally do that dangerous spot where it's not really going to put them out. Whereas you look where Bryan Danielson, who when he first came back from that the neck injury, he was kind of wrapped up in cotton wool when he was in WWE. Then you start to see the injuries start to happen quicker and faster and more frequently when he went to AEW, because he was wrestling that style where it's like, I'm going to wrestle like I'm 25 again. I'm just going to go balls to the wall, wrestle like I'm 25. And then his body you started to see his body, not his body give up on him, but just realize that you're too old for this. You can't do this anymore. So I feel like Punk coming over, if you treat him like a special attraction, you treat him like a part-timer, allow him to do his other outside projects and stuff like that, and treat him like a special attraction, like you said, I think it makes for better television show. It is a spectacle when he comes. And you don't need to see Punk wrestle all the time. The most important thing about Punk is what he says on the microphone. That's his special power. I've never went, oh, I need to see this Punk match. You know what I mean? It's like I'm more of a sucker for good story, because a good story can save a bad match.
Yeah.
Or a medium match. It can elevate that. There's been loads of WWE matches. Look at Roman's this year, Roman. All his wrestling matches have been mid, outside of the story. The story pushes it to a B. Otherwise, it would have been a C.
Right.
All of his matches, none of his matches were that good.
Yeah.
So they can do that with Punk, because Punk's a really good storyteller.
Absolutely. And this also, you're absolutely right, because this really does create inroads for him. Talk about longevity. This creates inroads for him to be able to have a very prosperous career and end his career in WWE, possibly as a commentator as well. You know what I mean? And I think and that's what really what the attraction is now, especially with him, now in the WWE. Because I'm pretty sure on everyone's mind right now is what's going to happen on Raw tomorrow night? Yeah. He's going to come out and what is he going to say? I think WWE I think they're in Peoria tonight, in Peoria, Illinois tonight for a house show. I'm assuming they might be there for Raw as well too.
No, I think they're in Nashville. I think.
For Raw.
Yeah, don't quote
Okay.
me on that. But
Okay.
I think they're in Nashville.
Okay. All right. That's cool. I mean, like, I saw someone on my timeline say that they're going to the Peoria show tonight. So I didn't know if like the Raw was gonna be there, but whatever, you know what I mean. But regardless, wherever they're at, they can be Peoria, Nashville, Detroit, LA, whatever. Tomorrow, what everyone wants to see is like and see and hear is what is Punk going to do and say, and like what's he going to talk about. I just like at first like when the rumors were kind of churning. I wasn't a big fan of him coming to WWE, and I was very vocal about this. Especially in the mid card match, I was very vocal about I'm not a fan of this idea because I don't know how he would adapt to this culture of of the backstage and of how the structure, especially with this new WWE, with it being ran by Endeavor, how he was going to adapt to this because I personally felt the impact now TNA come January. I felt the Impact locker room was going to be a much better fit for him. I felt he has friends back there. They still operate under like kind of like an old school way of doing things, but it's a very controlled old school way of doing things where wrestlers are actually happy, there. But the only variable that's going to be going against him was that they couldn't afford him. So with Punk being at the age where he's at right now and the place where he's in his career, I'm sure he wants to land those more lucrative deals that make more sense for him, that make more sense to his body as well, too, of not having to go out there and go full go all the time. And, an opportunity to be able to kind of like find a place where, hey, like I could be on commentary in a couple of years and just kind of like, let that be more so the anchor of my career, within the WWE. So I'm sure, so like now, obviously hindsight is 2020, looking at how things kind of played out, it all like makes a lot of sense where it's like, okay, like with you being here, it makes sense for your future. And especially with what Triple H said like last night during the press conference, what I thought was very key in terms of like, if you are still the same person that you were 10 years ago, then, you have not like you are nowhere near being able to experience growth because growth is very essential overall with all of us. And I thought that was a really good point. Like when he said that, I was like, that's a really good point. Like that happened a decade ago, and we all grow from little spats or tips or whatever that we had with people that might have happened 10 years ago. I mean, at least I hope I hope we have. But being considering that this is a business and everyone in this business is about doing good business for themselves and for everyone around them as well too. And Punk understands this. That's why I'm just like, okay, well, this landing makes a lot of sense in the world. And plus, what we have coming up, Manny, we got WrestleMania season coming up very soon. Yeah. Clint, made some predictions not too long ago in terms of what the card might look like. And when you look at just like this little bit of a prediction piece of what Clint posted right now, this looks like what WrestleMania should look like, in terms of like big names, big stars, big matches, marquee names, marquee stars, marquee matches that are going to get people talking and what get people watching.
Because all of that seems very like everything Clint has like listed seems like it can happen.
Right.
Like everything on that just seems like we're on that trajectory of that could happen. The only one that could be the only one you could veer on is probably the Rhea versus Bianca because they're on different brands. So like you could cover that with the Royal Rumble, but I think this is the time. Like Triple H kind of glossed on the topic last night when he was asked about Jade Cargill. So he's obviously identified that there was some development stuff that she needs to work on before she comes onto television. Which know what? I thought that was a solid answer when we were listening to it. I was like, you've identified that she needs some parts to her to grow. Because like for me, when I look at Jade, she is a phenomenal talent to look like, tons of potential.
Yeah.
You don't want to throw her out there and then like you've made a big deal about her. You've made a huge deal about her by putting her on, doing all these like, oh look, we're here, and then doing all those like spots of like Jade Cargill signed, it's come from ESPN and everything. If she came out there and did what she was doing on Rampage, I mean, I'd look at it and go, eh. Like if I'm a normal person, I'd look at it and go, eh. What? Why are you making a big deal of this? This is average at best.
Yeah.
Whereas like people that in the know, maybe that watch wrestling a lot more closely, would go, there's tons of talent there. She looks like a megastar. She's gonna sell stuff. It's just like that could be the time when she's ready and you put her out there and it's like take the grand stage at WrestleMania against either Rhea or Bianca and just kill it.
You think by that time, Jay will be ready for Mania? For a main event match?
I think so. You don't have to put her in the main event. Do you know what I mean? You don't. You focus on the titles, but like she doesn't have to be in the main event. But like you can just go, she's arrived. Yeah. You can put her in a position on WrestleMania and go, she's arrived. You don't need to put her in a position where it's like she's here and she lost. But like if she has a really good showing and everything, look at Austin when he lost at WrestleMania 13. He had a great showing. He lost, but like that was the turning point for him. So I think when Clint lists that, I think that the Jade prospect is possibly one of the better. Is a really great option to have.
Yeah, she'll have a really good showing at the Rumble. I think that'll be a really great time to be able to like bring her out. I'm kind of hoping that's why they kind of like. Well, what Triple H said last night, that and also draw like kind of like cooling back on her, hyping her up, so that this way she's not really in the forefront of our minds. So then come Rumble, when that music hits, and then it's on the big screen and everything, that she comes out, it would be great. It'll be a big moment for her, a big moment, and she can be in the Rumble for like 6 minutes or whatever, like maybe maybe like eliminate somebody get an elimination or whatever to show how. How strong she is and whatnot.
It's like so the last person they made a big deal of when signing with the company was Gable Steveson.
Yeah.
And like look how bad like that's come across. So he had one match against Baron Corbin. That match wasn't even good. Like Corbs is a great wrestler to get you over. The fact that Corbs wasn't able to get anything out of him says more about him than anything.
Sure, yeah.
Like when you look at his brother, I can't even remember his name now, but like he's very petty on NXT. He's a great character. He's currently rolling with Gulak.
You said he's on NXT. I don't watch NXT that much, so I remember you telling that he's on NXT. His brother's on NXT.
His brother's taken to it a lot more, and like I just don't feel like Gable Stevenson's like heart is in it. Because he's still got his mind on the Olympics and being on the USA Team USA for the Olympics. So like he's not really his heart's not really into it. So it kind of showed when he came out. So like I don't feel like they want to make the same mistake again with Jade. I feel like when she's ready, let her flourish.
Yeah, exactly.
Because like in the same vein, like when we talk about CM Punk, remember his opening promo? When he returned to wrestling, that first Rampage.
Yep.
You were there. Yeah. His whole deal was working with the young talent and working with all these fresh faces and getting people over and stuff like that. There is abundance of young talent in NXT.
Sure.
And starting to rise through. Working with a Punk could easily make those people from being on the cutting block to this guy needs to stay. This guy needs to stay and be here for a very long time.
Right.
Because there's so many good talent in there. It's just that a lot of them are lacking personality. A lot of them are, and a lot of them are lacking personality or are very weak on the microphone. You get there by sink or swim a lot of the time. But like if you've got someone like Punk that can help that, much like what Cody Rhodes said in the press conference afterwards, if you're here to help get us to that next level, great. Mm-hmm. But if you're not, why are you here?
Right. Exactly.
Because Punk is in that position now where what's he got to prove? He's like 46? What you got to prove in wrestling at that
Yeah,
point?
46 or 4. I think, yeah, 46. Yeah, because I looked it up last night. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
like, what's he got left to prove in wrestling outside of legacy kind of stuff, like building
Mhm.
people up?
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. And that's the thing is that like it's gonna be interesting to see like how he's gonna be now with this brand new WWE. The reason why I say that is because I remember watching this interview with Vince Russo a long time ago. It's back in like '08 maybe or something like that. It was a long time ago. And I remember him talking about TNA. And he was saying that TNA is always going to have its fan base because these are the people who are going to watch wrestling no matter what. No matter what
Yeah.
it is, no matter what, like who you put in that ring, that fan base TNA will always watch because they're going to watch wrestling regardless. But the one thing that TNA was missing was that at the time that Vince McMahon polish to really be able to not only make the product shine, but to draw people, to draw new watchers and new viewers onto the product. That's what TNA was missing. He's like, it's not a bad product, but it's missing that Vince McMahon shine. And because now, like, granted, Vince McMahon's not there anymore, but Triple H has all the tools, the wherewithal, and the know-all as well too, of terms of like how to be able to put that McMahon shine onto a talent and be able to accentuate their positives on how to be able to really really be able to like bring a lot of value to the brand. So it's going to be interesting seeing now that Punk is going to be in the WWE with that quote unquote that so-called McMahon polish on him, in terms of like being able to say like what you're talking about right now, this is where you can shine over here in terms of helping these talents out, helping them get over, helping them with promos, helping them pull something out of them that they probably don't even know they have, and pull it out of them this way they can translate it on TV the right way, and then be able to like be able to make this product grow. Because the Punk that we had last time when he was in WWE was he wasn't in the best in the best spirits. Obviously, him and Triple H, lots of like lots of head banging, basically like not being able to connect or whatever may have you. Issues with the McMahon family in general, just issues with other people as well. He was in a very different place, and now I feel that because he's lived a little bit like outside of the ring, outside of like not only with wrestling but also just in entertainment in general, working with a lot of different people, in Hollywood and whatnot, working with people in mixed martial arts. He's gotten a greater appreciation of what he's able to bring, what value he's able to bring to the table. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing this. Now, what I don't want to see happen, now I'm going to AEW right now, and I'll say this in the group. I'm praying, and I'm not, and look, I'm not religious, but I am on my damn knees praying that there's not going to be no Tony Khan trying to retaliate, trying to like answer back, trying to clap back, trying to like answer for this, whatever. I'll say this if somebody's posting in the mid-card mess. Man, he needs not to respond at all. Because I think
He is though.
but it's like, why? Like, you have a good product. You don't need to worry about what's going on over here.
No, but he cares too much. Like he and his talent have been throwing jabs at them for months, years. So like the moment they clap back with one, he goes into full defense mode when you threw about 20 bullets already.
Right.
So like for me, he just needs to focus on what he's doing,
Right.
focus on telling correct stories, because for me AEW can be great. But there's so many things where Tony is the face of the company, not his wrestlers. Tony Khan is. Like when you
That's interesting.
When you see about promoting all these shows and everything, like promoting Survivor Series and whatnot, you don't see Triple H or Vince McMahon going out to sell Survivor Series on the radio or a podcast or whatever.
It's a wrestler.
But you see Tony Khan do that. So when you get an owner of a company as a podcast, as a host, your initial thing is, let me try and get whatever the fuck I can. Am I allowed to swear on it?
Absolutely. Curse away. Go crazy.
Well, I swear on my show, but like I don't. It's
Please.
your show. So I'm not sure.
Please go crazy.
Yeah, it's like,
very rated R.
But like, it's if you're a host, you're gonna try and get whatever the fuck you can and drain it out of him. Be like, oh, look at this story. Let me get these clicks. That's how everyone's head should work if you're in this space. Clickbait and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And that's how you drive in people to come view. So Tony Khan is all constantly in that, and he's constantly putting his foot in his mouth all the time. Why don't he? This sounds like he doesn't trust his wrestlers to go do all that stuff.
Right.
Because like he's got EVPs, they should be doing that. They should be selling the company on all these things. They should be going on doing all these radio shows and promoting the next show and whatnot and coming to the show.
They've been doing that a little bit more Edge, though. Not to cut you off.
You can do that with Edge.
Edge has been a little bit more out there in terms of like promoting the brand and everything like that. So,
but that's because it's Edge. Send out Kenny Omega. WCW did it. You didn't see Eric Bischoff doing all this. So I don't. It's a little bit less. I didn't have that type of access when I was a child, but he should be trusting his wrestlers to do all this stuff and not do that kind of stuff. But he still does it. You still see him on all these podcasts, making announcements, saying there's going to be announcements and all this stuff, and then it just leads to letdowns and then makes you think bad about Tony Khan. Whereas, like, if he trusted his wrestlers enough to sell the stuff and be the faces of the company, and him kind of take a backseat and focus on all the other stuff he has to do, I feel like he would. I feel like that's the foundation of him turning things around and going, do you know what? We are a 1-to-1 director competitor. They're kind of just on the side. They're not like in your face a lot of the time.
Let me play devil's advocate really quick though, and let me ask you, what about, because like everything you're saying is a good point, but and I know this might be leaning towards apples and oranges a little bit, but in UFC, when we say UFC, the first thing we think about is Dana White. That's the first.
That's real, that's real, Maurice.
Yeah, but we're still talking about the brand though, that has fighters that have personalities. You know what I mean? So like, I'm just saying that like that could be that is true. I get what you're saying, and like right, you know, if you are Tony Khan, yeah, you should want to have your Kenny Omegas out there. You should want to have like your Christian Cages out there, your Luchasaurus out there. You know what I mean? To be the ones, well, not Luchasaurus, but it's because he doesn't really talk. But you know, the ones who are very vocal, your Bryan Danielsons. You do want to have the people who can be able to speak and be in front of the cameras, be on your podcast and whatnot and everything. But at the same time, though, it's like, well, if I kind of know what direction I want to go into in terms of like how to be able to promote this product or how to be able to explain this upcoming pay-per-view or how to be able to explain this tournament, whatever may have you, I gotta kind of be the one to be in that driver's seat a little bit. You know what I mean?
I see what you're saying. But like,
so maybe it might be coming from that angle with Tony. So like, because the thing is, like, I don't really it doesn't. I get what you're saying. It doesn't bother me too much that he's always out there like that. I just don't. The unnecessary jabs and the unnecessary little pettiness is what just like kind of like it's very cringe to me, because it's like you don't need to do this. Because here's my thing. Me personally, I go to AEW because I like watching that style of wrestling, of just like really great mat, hard-hitting wrestling. I love that because it really it's just the wrestling fan in me that loves to see that type of style of taking place on TV. When I watch WWE, I love the theater. The theater of WWE is what makes me still hold on to that product, because the presentation of everything is what makes it be large in their life. But it's like Tony, you have to understand, you're not in the same league as them. And if you kind of think about it, if you want to be honest, they're both two different industries that we're talking about here. You know what I mean? So it's like, you can't be trying to be something else that of what you're not even trying to be, because you're not trying to be a sports entertainment brand. You're trying to be a wrestling company, that has inroads with that owns ROH, it has inroads with New Japan, it has inroads with AAA. Work with that. Let WWE be what it is, and because they are a much bigger giant. You know what I mean? So I just hope we don't see that, but I get what you're saying, though. We are going to see that, unfortunately, and I hate that, because all it does is perpetuates the divide between fans, between AEW fans and WWE fans. You know what I mean? It just completely pours more gasoline on that, and I don't want to see that happen. You know, it's just one of those things. You know, I gotta be honest with you, punks with you, bro. You weren't feeling it, Shane? Oh, man.
See, you know what? I was thinking about the return at like 6:30 this morning, because I hadn't fallen asleep yet. Because like
always up.
You got wrap. Yeah, I was wrapping up, and then like there were shorts that I was trying to chuck out before I went to sleep and stuff like that. The return didn't seem as loud as the first return at Rampage. If I don't know why, maybe it was because you ain't seen him in a wrestling atmosphere for like 8-9 years since then.
And that's why.
And then I don't know, maybe because it was the end, or I don't know, maybe I was tired at that point. But like, yeah, it just didn't feel loud enough. But like, there was more people in that arena in comparison to when he returned at Rampage. I think there was 15, and I think maybe there was 2,000 more voices at Survivor Series.
Then you talk about versus Rampage?
Yeah. Rampage, I think, had about 15,000. And then Survivor Series had about 17,000,
right
ish. But it just felt louder. I don't know.
But I think a lot of that was because, like what you said, though, was that we went 8 years without seeing him, and that was 8 years of this oh my god energy. Him coming, like, oh my god, he really is here. He's really walking to a wrestling ring. So that was just a lot of emotion coming out. Whereas with this, we had a whole, and granted, yeah, like with Rampage, we did have a lot of like teases and a lot of rumors going through it, but actually seeing it happen was just stunning. Whereas with this, though, it was cool. Him coming out was great seeing, but I get why some people, like what Shane said a second ago, he wasn't really feeling it. I get why, because
there is I get it. There's a stink on him now.
Right. We still the stain on the white T-shirt from August. The stain on the white T-shirt is still there. You know, from what happened to AEW, and you've seen it online to yourself, Manny. You've been seeing it all over the place. People have been saying, how long is it going to take for him to piss somebody off? How long is it going to take for him to get kicked out? How long is it going to take for him until he fights somebody or whatever? You know what I mean? Even Kayfabe News made a little article this morning saying he's been released.
I literally hate when anyone in the mid-card mess posts from Kayfabe News, because I think it's real. First time I see it, then I see it's from Kayfabe News, and I'm like, okay, it's not real.
Right. Right. Exactly. So it wasn't right. I do agree with that. It wasn't like as impactful, but it still is like Triple H said. It's guys talking. It's guys wondering. It's guys buzzing. It's guys like you know talking about this whole thing. So, but yeah, man. But overall though, bro, like I'm happy to see what's happening right now. I think just overall, and I know people people have been saying this a lot. Like wrestling is in a good place right now in general. You got Will Ospreay signing with AEW. I think it's a 3-year deal. I believe he signed with them for.
Yeah, and then I think his partner might come over with him, and Alex Windsor is pretty damn good in the ring.
Oh, really? You said,
yeah.
What's his name? Alex Windsor?
I think she wrestled on Turning Point recently.
I missed your point.
Yeah, I've seen her wrestle a few times at Pro Wrestling Eve, and she's insane. So like, if they even have a chance to bring her in and sign her to a deal in AEW, do it. It will benefit the women's division.
Okay. That's his lady. You said that's his lady, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what's up. I'm gonna check it out. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like with that signing right there, with the actual brand of TNA coming back in January, which is really cool to see. And now with Punk and Orton back in WWE, physically back in WWE, and we're now like December's kind of like the down period, like of wrestling in general. So like it's gonna be a little like turned down. But now WrestleMania, the road to WrestleMania is gonna be taking place, come January. We're in a good place right now overall in general. We're in a really good place overall. So it's gonna be a lot to see what's gonna come about this. I'm excited about it. It's one of those things where it's like you just gotta wait and see it happens, It's gonna be really interesting to see what's gonna take place.
Punk is very polarizing. So like the people that don't like him, the people that are gonna to him being in WWE, that may push you over to go watch something else that you haven't watched. Like it may push you to watch TNA. It may push you to go and actually focus a bit more on AEW. Like
yeah.
But it's got everyone talking. Like I'm kind of annoyed the pay-per-view was on Saturday because now we've got to wait. We've got to wait another day, another 24 hours for Raw to happen.
Yeah.
Like Raw is must see this week.
For the first time in a long time too, as well, man. Because I'm gonna tell you something. I was getting to a point where I'm like, I am so sick and tired of seeing the Judgment Day all over every segment.
Oh, you're telling me, bro? You're telling me, Marcus at the point is, I believe they've said it was only last week that they didn't say it, that we are the Judgment Day and we run all of WWE or we run all of Monday Night Raw every week since I feel like July.
Dog. Right. And you know what else too? Because I don't watch SmackDown a lot. The only time I really watch SmackDown is when Roman Reigns comes out with something, and so I'll fast forward to watch what he says. And I'll just see like what everyone in the mid-card mess says about SmackDown, just kind of catch up with things. But I actually watched SmackDown on Friday, really just like just get into the rhythm of Survivor Series. And when Judgment Day came out, I'm like, I thought this show was not on.
Following you everywhere.
On this show.
I need them to separate or something. I need a break from Judgment Day.
Heard that damn music. I'm like, God damn it, man. Hold on. His UFC losses discredits his whole tough guy act on all the complaining about backstage stuff at the company, at any company he's ever worked for, lackluster and ring performance after his return, and 2 fights backstage with his coworkers. He's amazing on the mic, and maybe I'm spoiled by Japanese wrestling, but meh. But you know what? And Shane, that's the thing is that I'm not sure when you jumped into the show, but Manny and I were touching on that in terms of like Punk is going to be kind of like maybe be utilized in more of a less is more way, where we won't have to like necessarily see him in the ring all the time. And also now since WWE's ran by Endeavor and Triple H is running things talent wise in the back, he kind of like, I think Punk is kind of like know like, okay, this ain't the place with all the fuckery. You know what I mean? This ain't the place for it, like how it was in AEW. So with him being utilized in a much more smarter way, whether it be as an attraction talent, where we see him at the big shows, or he's going to be able to be in the bigger matches. He's going to have the big the really good promos. He's going to be working with the younger guys. If he's utilized in a much more smarter way, that's going to be able to be lucrative for him career-wise, then I think that we're going to see a very different version of Punk than we've seen in the past. I hope so, because as a fan of his, I want to see him do well, and I want to see him, excel. You know what I mean? You said the same thing before Punk came out. Damn, I wish I knew you were talking about, E-Man. Let me know what you're talking about, bro. But yeah, man. So that's what we're gonna see what happens, bro. We're gonna see what happens. You know what I mean? Like we got, like I said, Monday Night Raw is tomorrow night. Monday Night Raw is tomorrow. Oh, I think he meant talk about the Judgment Day. The Judgment Day. Yeah. We need a break from that, and we're gonna get a break from that because now we got Punk, we got Orton, we have a lot that's
you said about Raw being must see.
About Raw being must see. Absolutely. For the first time in a long time, man. I'm happy about that. But yeah, so we're gonna wrap things up, y'all. Lord Manny Hayes, thank you for joining the show today, brother. It was a pleasure having you on, my man, for real.
You need us to collaborate. Just send a word, bro.
Yeah, hell yeah. Oh, you know what? The thing is, okay, real talk. Because this month I was gonna take a break from the 23rd hour, and I was gonna bring it back probably in January or whatever. But after last night, I woke up this morning like, fuck it, I'm just gonna do the show. You know what I mean? So it was it was a total game time decision. But no, we definitely do need to do a little bit more together, with our shows. Everyone watching, make sure y'all look this man up, Lord Manny Hayes. Look up Manny I on Facebook. He's in the mid-card message Manny I. He's also part of the Sharpshooters Network. Look up the Sharpshooters the Sharpshooters. It's in the comments. Click on that profile. Follow them on Facebook. Also, there's a link to their YouTube channel as well too. Trust me, best content on YouTube for real. Manny and Marcus are on. You guys are on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Yeah, Tuesdays,
to cover
Thursdays.
Raw.
Jamal and Marcus will be in on Wednesdays. They're taking a little hiatus on ETE, but that's gone through a refresh, so it's now going to be it's labeled the top 100 matches, but I think that's just kind of just a series that can go on for an eternity of just talking about really good matches that they've enjoyed.
Oh yeah.
Sure. Anyone can jump in on that. So like if you've got a match that hasn't been brought up, just send an email or send a message to one of us.
You already know what match I want to talk about on there.
Yeah, so join us, man. Just send us a message and just join us when they start recording.
We're gonna click together on that one.
Yeah, and then Saturday is the staple. The main attraction is the show with Eric, Marcus, and myself. It's the Sharpshooters Wrestling Podcast. That's been going on for centuries. That's been around forever. It's the funnest show because when all three of us get together, you don't know what we're going to talk about. You don't know where we're going to veer off and talk about something stupid or whatever. And it's just boys having fun, and you'll have a good time laughing along with us because it's just a good time. Much like this, much like B-Side Studios, it's just a good time. Like the videos and subscribe, people.
Please, 1000%. Trust us when we say this. It really is always a fun time. I hate that bro, like my I got a new job, so I'm no longer working remote. And so like it really did kind of like twist around my my availability to be able to watch you guys live, like when you guys are going live, during the daytime and everything. So I catch you guys on the replay, like when I'm driving home and whatnot. But yeah, but trust me, guys, like, follow their brand, follow their shows. It's really great material, especially if you're a wrestling fan. I mean, it really is solid gold. Low key, real talk. I'm not even lying to you guys. The Sharpshooters Network is like one of the first wrestling podcasts, like ever, like for real. Like you were talking about going back to 2007. All right, so they've been around before.
Yeah, thing is, since they've come about, I think they were the first. I'm going to go out and say it. When Marcus and Eric were kind of just doing it on podcast, not just plain audio. I believe it was the first African American wrestling.
Well, a question it was.
And then when we started gaining traction for YouTube, we started to see more. Like there's the Black Announce Table YouTube channel, which is a really good YouTube channel.
Okay.
And there's a lot more ethnic people talking about wrestling, and it's good because we don't tend to see us. When we look at the crowd of WWE and AEW, you may see one of us or two of us here or there. It's good that we've got a place where we can all come together and join and talk about wrestling. That's what the mid-card mess is. We've got loads of diversity in the mid-card mess, but it's like a good melting pot.
Yes.
Whereas like when you look at wrestling as a whole, when you watch WWE or thing, it's just like it's all of white people.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like I don't really fit in, but like when we got groups like the mid-card mess, we've got the Sharpshooters, we've got B-Side Studios, and all these other places, it's really good to just have our own voices and just be a healthy community.
Facts. No, you're absolutely right, man. Like, being able to see us, being able to interact, you really have a home here. You know what I mean? Like, in terms of like these places that we're talking about, you feel like a safe place to be able to go in there, chop it up with people who look like you, may not look like you or whatever, but still share the same passion, the same like love or something. It's nothing better than that, man, for real. But
and then you don't get people looking at you strange.
Like, right. Like
you don't get people looking at you. So that's the main thing. It's like the great thing about the mid-card mess is we all get along. There's some people that may say some dumb stuff, but like
Right.
you can just filter them.
Yeah, it's like you literally have like no voice here, so like we're just gonna ignore you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
Like
then
that
there's
one,
people.
real quick, like that one idiot in there when what was that? Oh crap! It was Roman Reigns' most recent match. I think it was at the Saudi Arabia
Yeah.
show, and I wrote oh man, what I made a post saying like the tribal chief or whatever like that, right? You know, and I had the emoji one in
Yeah.
there. You know how he does the one
Yeah.
like that. So that's all I wrote. You know, the tribal chief with the one, right? Just showing love to Roman Reigns because you know like that's my guy. And this one idiot jumps up there saying, "Why are you using a black hand? He's not black. He's white." I'm like,
My hand.
right. I'm like, and I said, I'm black, dog. That's why I'm using the black emoji. And then he responded back saying, he's a white guy. Roman's white. I'm like, dog, I don't even know you. I've never seen your name before. You are really irrelevant here. And even though what you're saying is 1,000% wrong, you are not even worth the conversation. So you sometimes see sprinkles of that, but it's very rare.
Yeah, but it's rare. Maurice, it's rare. But there's people like
rare.
Roland, me, a few others in there that will come in and check you very quickly.
Oh, yeah.
We're not moderators. Just come in and check you.
Right. And when y'all put somebody in their place, that shit is hilarious for real.
And there may be occasional times where one of us will come in and check with Maurice and be like, did we go too far? Because I won't get thrown out myself. But
yeah, no, yeah. And that's the thing, like you guys know the boundaries. You guys know like how to be able to like roast somebody when it's still like all good. So yeah, man, it's always love, man. But for real, anybody out there watching, yeah, join. Come to the mid card mess, man. For real, it's a really good wrestling Facebook group. It's all love in there, for real. It's all family and everything, all that good stuff.
I don't know if he's still here, but there's one message for Clint. Just remember when Clint chose Karrion Kross over Gunther. I'm just pointing it out because there was a good portion of time where he picked Karrion Kross over Gunther. And look where we are now, Clint. Look where we are now.
Man, man, that's the truth for real. Oh man, that sucks too. Because I remember I was so hyped for Clint because give Clint his credit. Clint was on him way before he was ever in WWE. Like Clint was promoting him when he was in the independents or whatever like that. So when he signed, I'm like, okay, I know Clint's boy is gonna rise. He's gonna shine. He's gonna do his thing. Woo, man, that went left. That went left, man. Like, damn. Feel bad for my boy.
I just like to remind people that Clint was on that side. It's a bad side to be on.
Especially over Gunther. Come on, man. Oh, real quick. Dude, I really want to see Gunther and Jay Uso. After what Jay said about the IC title, I want to see that match happen, man. I think we might get that at the Rumble.
I kind of, I maybe because I've got psychopathic tendencies, but I kind of wanted to go through all of the Judgment Day at this point in time. One, start with Dominic, work his way through up to like Priest. It just needs to happen. Like it needs to happen. I need the Judgment Day over. It's not fun anymore.
Yeah. Well, we might get that, man. I mean, and at this point, right now with Priest, he still has a briefcase. Granted, he still has until I think the summer to be able to cash it in or whatever. Yeah. But I'm just wondering, like, man, is that shine gonna wear off soon with him? You know what I mean? Because it's it's like you said, it's like now we're getting to a point where we're like, okay, the Judgment Day is kind of like, all right, man, like what else y'all got? Because it's getting a little dry, But we'll see though. We'll see. My man, I appreciate you, brother. I'm about to log off. Man, did you freeze?
Thank you, man.
Okay, all right. I thought you froze for a second. I'm like, oh shit. but yeah, we're gonna collab on something.
My internet's dying.
Oh, okay, no problem. It's good timing, brother. Everyone, please support the show, support the Sharpshooters Network, support B-Side Studios, show some love, come to the mid-card mess, enjoy wrestling. We have a hell of a road between now and Mania and beyond, y'all. Even now, in between now and AEW Revolution as well too, or even in between now and TNA Hard to Kill in January, whatever your proclivity is. I love you guys. Thank you for joining us, and we are out. Wait, real quick. Thank you, Miss Ramirez. I appreciate you. Appreciate you, Miss Ramirez. Thank you so much, and we will see y'all next time on the 23rd hour. Deuces.